welcome to Onesies, the podcast of one season wonders and blunders. My name's Andrew.
And my name's Emily.
And we are still talking about Automan.
I'm so glad we made it this far. Oh, yeah.
Episode 8, Renegade Run, or as I like to call it, Control Your Lady Parts, Emily.
I said, with that Chris Maloney naked Peloton video hitting yesterday, whoo boy, I am.
It is your week.
It is my week.
Okay, so this episode opens with a dirt bike chase, which sort of sets some of the tone. But it is a dirt bike chase where on the bike is one Billy Drago playing Chico, a Vietnam hero turned biker.
Biker, yeah.
Biker in quotation marks, because we're going to talk about what kind of biker gang it is later, but we're not going to spoil that now because the reveal on that comes later, because it's a show for 7-year-old boys. So so it's Billy Drago, and there's a lot of guest stars this episode.
Yeah, a lot of people I recognized. The sister, the woman who plays his sister, I recognized, but I didn't recognize her name. I probably butchered the pronunciation last week, so I'm not even going to try again.
It's not who I thought it was. I thought it was somebody from RoboCop, but it's not.
But one of the things I want to talk about is a missing guest star. Somebody I think would have been perfect in this, but he was probably too big for TV shows, and that is one Jodan Baker. He would have fit in perfectly here.
We should do our 3 things. I just realized we jumped into dirt bikes.
We did jump into dirt bikes.
Okay.
I have Freudian Firefly.
Okay.
I got Moose Knuckle.
Okay.
Let's talk about the music, the cover music.
Okay. I will do Freudian Firefly. He's a good man for jurisdictional disputes. Think it's gonna, okay, so then I will do, I'll spoiled it, guest stars, and the biker gang will be mine, because I had Freudian Firefly.
I thought that was so funny. It took
music too.
It took me the second time to catch what she was saying. So anyway.
Okay. So the other guest stars of note.
Yes.
Let's get them done now. So there's Billy Drago, Richard Lynch, noted bad guy. He was the sheriff.
Okay, he looked familiar.
Yeah, because he looks like a bad guy. And then Terry Kaiser as his star deputy, also known as Bernie of Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh, he looked familiar, but I've never seen Weekend at Bernie's. I've probably just seen him in other. Yes,
he was roles. He was on a night court. So.
Oh yeah, then I've definitely seen it. And because. So I'm going to just set it up a little, unless you have more guest stars.
Richard Anderson is the very special guest star, but he's not very special. We'll talk about it later.
So this episode is set in Arizona, near the border of Mexico. Billy Drago Chico is having a petty dispute with the sheriff, who's trying to take his land that's right on the border that had been owned by Chico's father. Now, it's crooked cops versus the good guy Vietnam vet / biker. And I just was desperate for Jodan Baker to either be a crooked cop or come in and bust up the crooked cops. I was desperate for that, since we were talking about guest stars. I don't know why. I mean, he's in Texas because he's got that Texas thing, but he should have been in this episode. If that's the one thing, otherwise there are no notes. I have no notes about this episode. It's perfect. Just
I knew you liked Wally's chest hair.
Oh,
I knew you liked Wally's chest hair.
I can ignore Wally's chest hair for other things.
Okay. So, yes, Joe Don Baker would have been a welcome addition.
He would have at least been able to act, even if it was
true.
To his ability would have been better than anybody else in this episode.
That is true. It is not a particularly well acted episode, no. But that poor lady lawyer we'll talk about in a bit, she seemed utterly lost the entire time. Yes. So the sheriff throws up a roadblock to catch Chico, and Chico's like, "You're going to kill me," and the sheriff's like, "Yeah, but not if you come quietly. Then we won't kill you. We promise."
Well, they need to get his signature on the paperwork.
They need to get his signature. Yeah. Yes. So,
and they threaten to go after his sister if he doesn't go with them.
Yes.
So they've got him caught between a rock and a hard place.
And he makes a crack about the sheriff being a draft dodger.
Yeah, which is great.
Yes. So, I mean, when Billy Drago's one of your better guest star performances, it's...
Ooh, and he was so bad. Early on, he was bad. He got better. But when he was doing the, "Hey, man," it was like, ooh, boy, this is terrible. The hippie biker Vietnam vet guy. Oh, that was so bad.
So then we cut to Wally's apartment. I don't know if we got a establishing shot of the exterior, but Automan shows up and he's ready for his reprogramming, except Wally forgot.
Oh, and then there's this belabored gag. "Oh, I'm here for blah, blah, blah. You're going to update my memory." And Wally's like, "I forgot." And then just to make matters worse, Automan tags it with, "Maybe we should update your memory." Oh. Okay, sorry.
You got a lot of notes, it turns out.
So Wally's getting ready for a date of sorts.
But not with Roxanne. He's going out with Terry Fuentes, and she's a college friend. They're just friends, so it's kind of not a date.
But she is really dressed up for this not date. I don't know. Maybe just back in the day, people got dressed up more than they do now.
But also Automan says he just saw a movie about it, but we don't get to hear what movie it is because Wally interrupts him because Wally's got a date.
Mm-hmm.
So then we cue the love theme for them. That, like, they put a lot of effort into the love theme, and I was like, is this going to be a thing? No, it's not going to be a thing. It was just for this. And the setup is actually that it's not Wally, it's evil Terry Kaiser who comes and beats her up to get her signature.
Yeah.
As Arizona sheriff's deputies do. They travel to Los Angeles and beat up people. I mean, probably a little too accurate, but anyway, so she signs after he, throttles her, and then Wally shows up and they talk about it, presumably.
Yeah.
But he gets a hug, which is more physical contact than Wally gets.
Really awkward, like he doesn't know what to do. He's never had a woman hug him before, except for his mom.
I mean, he's a special boy. So then he goes home to pack, and he's going to take her to the border, or he's going to take her back home to Bishop, Arizona, to figure out these personal problems she's having. And he acknowledges that there might be a crooked sheriff. And Automan's like, "You should take me." And he's like, "No, it's personal. You can come out on Monday if I'm not back yet."
That was weird because I thought, why not take Automan? Like, it's not an extra plane ticket. It's not like there's no cost. You can probably get there faster with the auto car. There's no reason to not take him, except then you have to kind of explain him away. But you should have done that already. He's solving all of your crimes for you. Whatever.
Okay.
And then Automan makes him feel guilty, which I thought was really funny.
Yes. He's like, "Oh, holograms making me feel guilty." And it's like, if you don't need me, Wally, and it's like Wally only needs him to do his job for him, not accompany the ladies across state lines. So they make record time to Arizona, or we cut them stopping over for the night, because it'll later take Automan like all night to get there.
Yeah.
So, and that's in the auto car. So it's kind of like we're skipping ahead here. We skip ahead to visiting the lady lawyer, who is played by someone who I will be shocked if she has very many credits, because she was terrible and she looked terrified the whole time. Greta Blackburn.
Yeah.
V48. Oh, she was one of the hostages in 48 Hours. She was in. She's got one of those IMDb pages where they don't even split out her TV and her movie. So 37 credits total. V the Final Battle looks like her peak, and she was a girl on Three's Company, of course. So yeah, so she's the lawyers helping Terry and Chico, and what Chico's in trouble because he destroyed the sheriff's water lines.
That's the line that's going around, apparently.
Well, we never find out one way or another if that's what happened.
Yeah. Because in the first scene, he says he took a pickaxe to the water line. And then in this scene with the lawyer, she says he tore it up like with his motorcycle, which I don't understand how that would work, but
especially given their motorcycles. Okay. So
we're not there yet.
We're not there yet. Okay.
In my head, I had something else.
So I just saw one of my notes for the next scene. Real quick, but we discover that Chico didn't sign his legal name. Right. He signed his first name, which is Carlos, and the lawyer really condescendingly tells the Hispanic woman, Chico's not his real name.
I had that written down too. Did that lawyer think Terry was so dumb that she didn't know her brother's real name?
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. So he's stupid.
Like, so Terry explains, no, his middle name, that's not his real middle name. And I did the same thing where I didn't sign my real middle name. But yeah, oh God, I found that awful. Oh, Chico, that's not his real name. No shit. God. That did kind of irritate me.
So then the lawyer's like, where can I reach you? And Terry's like, how about at my house? Can I have the keys?
Because this lawyer is also the one who runs the estate after the death of their parents. So she has all of the documentation, the keys, everything. So
yes. So we go to the old house, which is a very old house and does not appear to have phone lines or power lines. Yeah. So if it doesn't matter. This doesn't figure in at all. Mm-hmm. For an episode entirely about a plot of land, we spend this amount of time on the plot of land.
Yeah.
So Terry says the house is full of ghosts, and then she and Wally have a little moment that doesn't go anywhere. Because the sheriff arrives with Deputy Bernie, and they search the rental car, and they find a bunch of weed.
Knowing Wally, it's probably oregano. I'm kidding. Yeah, they planted weed in his car just to have an excuse to lock him up.
Arrest him, yes. Yep. And he's like, you can't do that. I'm LAPD or something, and they don't care.
As if that fucking matters. But yeah, they don't care. He's out of his jurisdiction.
Shockingly. So yeah, they both get arrested. And cut to LAPD, where
Roxanne, she hears the sound that apparently nobody else hears, where she knows that Automan has established himself in Wally's office and is doing research on the computer, which I thought he didn't need the computer to do. He could just because he is a computer, be in the computer, whatever, it doesn't matter. And she enters the office and, Automan, what are you doing here? Anybody could walk in here and find you. And he has discovered that Wally has been arrested. But before he can tell her, Captain Boyd comes in.
Yes, and he hides behind the door again.
Yeah, where's Wally? Where's Wally? He's an hour late. And it's like, why the fuck do you care all of a sudden about where Wally is?
Okay, so Automan was supposed to look up what Wally was doing if he hadn't heard from him by Monday morning. The establishing shot is clearly night.
Oh.
Yes, so it's Monday night. So not only did Automan wait all day to look it up, also Wally works the night shift. So Lieutenant Jack comes in too.
So Captain Boyd calls Lieutenant Jack in, and Jack's got his back to the room, and he's standing around a bunch of other people just chatting with them. This is me coming around to Jack again. I'm just imagining him like telling dirty jokes to this group of people. Like he's got a big smirk on his face, and he's just maybe not telling dirty jokes, but he's just shooting the shit with these people. I love him. I'm loving him. And especially after this, I love him even more. Okay.
So Automan has... Oh, you missed your Freudian Firefly.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. God, so when Roxanne comes in, Cursor, as himself, is flying around the room, and she swats him away like a fly, says, "Get away from me, you Freudian Firefly," which I thought was, one, very astute on Roxanne's part. Makes her sound like she knows something. Probably the most character development we're going to get from her ever. Just knowing that she knows who Freud is and can apply his name to things. Most character development ever. Except she likes bad boys, which we'll get to later.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. And it took the third viewing for me to catch that.
So Cursor zaps a outfit on Automan.
A suit again.
Suit.
Yeah. And this
comes out from behind the door and is like, "Hey, I'm here looking it up." And they're like, "Oh, Agent Man." And it's taken me this long to realize that they think his name is Otto Man.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he's been introduced as...
He has been introduced as that, but I just have not...
You haven't put the two together, the Otto
I have
and the
not
man? Okay.
Not completely, not to the point that they think his name is Agent Otto Man. Like, okay, guys. Anyway, it's like a fucking... Schwarzenegger SNL bit. Like, anyway, so he's going to team up with Curtis and go out and see what's up. And this is where Boyd's like, "You need to take Jack with you because he's good at jurisdictional disputes."
Yeah.
And I'm like, but he's the FBI. Why would you bring the LAPD for that? And then Roxanne is sputtering because she's like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa." And they're like, "What is it, Roxanne? You're a silly girl."
Yeah.
And so that's basically the end of that. And then Boyd asks about Automan's collar, and that's top secret, just like the car, because Jack is in the auto car, and he...
So before we get to Jack and Automan in the auto car, I realized what Captain Boyd is trying to do, I think, or the actor, what is it, Gerald O'Loughlin? I think he's trying to do a Columbo thing. He sounds like Columbo sometimes.
Oh.
Do you hear it? I mean, what next episode?
I've never seen Columbo.
Oh. But you know Peter Falk.
I mean, I know who Peter... Yes, but I've never seen him as Columbo.
Okay. Well, never mind. I think he's trying to do the Columbo thing. He's just not charming. He doesn't actually do anything but yell. And,
Okay.
You should watch Columbo.
The tracks.
What's your problem?
I know. I don't.
You dork.
I don't know what my problem is.
You're a dork.
I'm a nerd. Okay. So Jack gets his window shot. Automan takes a corner.
I had only wished that they had flashed to the angle where you could actually see him mugging to the camera. Oh, that was so disappointing. Again, I hate it, but it's nice to have somebody else in there. Have Roxanne do it. Let's get Captain Boyd in there. Come on. Everybody gets a It's like a ride at Disney, right? You get your picture snapped when you're going making a dumb face. That would be great.
So then we cut to the chain gang. Now, there's going to be like chain gang footage, but that's not any of the footage from the actual episode. They're never actually working on a chain gang. They're building the sheriff's house, or an addition to his house. And so Wally and Teresa are there. We get chest hair Wally, and we establish that the sheriff is smuggling the workers over.
Yeah, so we established that not only is the sheriff using prisoners from the county jail to do menial tasks for him personally, not even necessarily for county roads or this other stuff that we'll soon have more information about. But he's smuggling over people from Mexico. And this is why he wants Chico and Terry's land, is because it's right on the border. And if he owns it, that land right on the border, then he can smuggle people over the border to use as manual labor, which is like real bad guy stuff. This is real bad guy stuff.
Don't know why he would, if they didn't live there, it would be unoccupied. So why would it matter? I mean, yes, I get it, but like, it seems like this plan could backfire.
It also seems like if somebody else owned it and he was smuggling people over, then the person who owned the land would get in trouble and not him necessarily. You know, it would be, right. I don't know. A lot of holes.
But this is where Chico says he's let the renegades know to come and break him out.
And how did he do that, by the way? There were no cell phones back then. He got hauled away to jail. Did he know?
Made his phone call. He made his phone call.
Maybe.
And then the sheriff taunts him by saying that they've brought the sister there. But then we cut to the sheriff's office where Carl, who is Richard Anderson, who is not MacGyver, is a state appropriations guy. And he says, you've been spending a lot of money on your public works projects. I'm going to come down and take a look at them.
Even though he's already there.
No, he's not. He's in the state capitol.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because Jack has to go
They're
get
on the
him.
phone. Yeah.
It's the same backlot, but it's supposed to be a different place. Might even be the same building with a different sign on it. But because it really looks like Jack is standing in front of the sheriff's office when he goes and gets the guy. Yeah. But so this is, sheriff calls in Bernie and is like, hey, how are we doing on all the roads and bridges? And Bernie's like, well, we've been building your house, man. Like, we haven't done any of that shit. He's like, you got to go do it in a week.
You got 5 days, I think. He gives them 5 days.
Get another batch of illegals. Okay, you might think this will be a subplot. It is not. It is not. Not at all. So then Automan is almost to town, but he's running out of power. And Jack is napping now in the auto car. And so Jack hears Otto talking to Cursor because they have to speak out loud to communicate because NFC hadn't been invented yet for holograms. And so, I don't know, like, Automan's like, I was waking you up, man. We're almost there.
Yeah.
And so Jack expresses concern about Wally. And then Jack's going to go in alone so Automan doesn't, FBI up the situation.
Yeah.
Which is actually exactly what Automan needs so he can go get some power.
Perfect.
So then we cut to Wally and Chico in a reused shot of the auto car from 2 minutes before.
Mm-hmm.
And Wally yells at Otto from afar. And it's a very, very distant road that Automan is driving on.
And he's inside a car. The windows presumably aren't down.
Chico does not even see the car.
Yeah.
But Cursor makes a noise after Wally says, stop, come back. And Otto's like, I know he's there, but, we got to get to the power plant. He's shit out of luck for now.
Again,
will be no help.
Again, we never see the power plant. We never know how it works. It's just there. It just happens. It's a reason
just
for...
found a power plant. It's fine. It's fine. Another scene, I feel like we were cheated.
Yeah.
Okay. So then Jack is talking to the sheriff, and it's, the sheriff is adamant that Wally's a pothead. And Jack says, don't you know who his mother is? And he says, no. And then...
noted alcoholic Lucille Ball.
The sheriff tells Jack to hit the road with his big city bad manners.
Ooh, I thought that was rough.
Yep. And Jack's like, better watch out, man. So then it's night. And Bernie has brought all of the workers to a bridge to work on, though they haven't gotten any breaks.
Yeah.
So Automan shows up and makes himself a deputy outfit. And I don't know.
There's another stupid explanation for the collar. Oh, I used to be a security at a nuclear power plant. And it's like, why don't we just take this special effect away? Why don't we just take the special effect away if you're just going to have to keep making dumb excuses for it? Like, just take it away. I'm done. I'm done with these dumb things.
So, I don't know.
At what point do the Renegades come to town and start getting free beer and stuff? It's later, right?
It's a couple scenes because they have to go see the lawyer.
Yes.
But first, we find out about the phony green cards.
Right.
Is that from this scene? Probably. I don't know. But the sheriff is giving them phony green cards when they come over.
Yeah.
So he's making them pose as prisoners, and he's giving them phony green cards, which is bad.
Yes.
So then Automan and Jack go see the lawyer, and I don't know, she's going to go look at the Hall of Records, and Jack is going to go to the Capitol to talk to Carl, but then they hear a sound, and it's the Renegades coming to town. So
there's this long scene, probably too long, of the Renegades coming to town, and they're like riding their motorcycles up cars, and it's like demolition derby, and it's like up a car and then through a banner that's hanging up over the street in the city. It was so, 1, unnecessary, 2, ridiculous, 3, it seemed like tough, but not tough like a biker I would be afraid of. These are just more like ne'er-do-wells. I want a biker that's like big and tattooed and leathered and like headbutting you, not like just riding their bike around being like threatening people with their bike, because motorcycles make loud noises, dirt bikes make loud noises. That's not as scary as like a big tough dude headbutting you, right? Sorry.
Yeah, we haven't seen the bikes completely yet, but yeah, they're a dirt biker gang. They dirt bike. It's like Wild Hogs, but even dorkier.
And in future scenes, they incorporate like dirt biking into
there's a lengthy dirt biking sequence because it's a show for 7-year-old boys. Okay, so Otto is like, hey, Cursor, res me up something with 2 wheels instead of 4. So Cursor reses him up an auto bike. And my first thought was, I don't think the biker gang is going to think he's cool on his like Japanese looking motorcycle, but it's not going to matter because they're a dirt bike gang, not a Harley gang. They're not on choppers. They're on,
Yeah.
Okay.
But before that, the lawyer calls the sheriff and tells him the Renegades are in town, and the sheriff calls around and calls the bar and says, give them free beer. It's all on me, right? This is before because then
somebody calls, no, after he gets the Automaniacs thing, then somebody calls the sheriff.
Okay.
And
so do I get to talk about Moose Knuckle now? Is that what I get to talk about? Yes.
Because Cursor reses up matching accoutrement, which Emily will discuss in detail now.
So he's got a black leather jacket, of course. Of course. This is standard. There's an American flag on the lapel, which you see later, because you only see him from kind of a distance, and a pair of like jeans. But again, you kind of see he's like behind a bike, so you don't really get a good look at it right away. And like, they're not super tight jeans. He's like a bigger guy. He's not heavy, but he's a bigger guy. He has no ass, by the way. If you're thinking this is like George Michael, gotta have faith, dancing around, no. He's just like, he looks like, what's his name? He just looks like an old man. Like, remember in the 30s and 40s when like leading men were like barrel chested?
Yeah.
This is kind of what he looks like. One of those barrel chested old men. Except he's not. Anyway, from the front, he has got the biggest, fattest pussy lips I have ever seen in my life. I was like, I sent you that picture and I was like, what is going on in his pants? This moose knuckle is ridiculous. And I was expecting Tom of Finland and instead got whatever this nonsense is. So I kept sending you Tom of Finland things. I'm sorry for sexually harassing you when you were probably at work or something. And on the back, it says Automaniacs. And he's like, nice. And then again, my Tom of Finland fantasy a little bit comes true when he puts on that little hat, that little biker hat. It looks so stupid. It looks so bad. Oh my God, Chuck, I'm so sorry. But I was thrilled. Yeah. I was so thrilled.
Because that's what biker gangs are like. They dress like Marlon Brando in The Wild One, and they ride dirt bikes.
Marlon Brando. That's exactly what I was thinking of. That's exactly what I couldn't when I was snapping my fingers at the camera. Oh my God.
So now we have another one of the useless sort of not going to be a plot thread scenes with the sheriff calling the bar and telling Miss Lucy to keep him good and tanked. You might think this would have some importance. It has none.
No.
Because the bikers are going to be there. It's free pitchers all day. They're having a special. The special is free beer. And a Heart and Soul by Huey Lewis and the News cover is playing in the background. And Automan zooms across an empty field.
That special effect was so bad. Mostly because at the end of it, when he's like making his approach, they finally shoot like, so you can see the bikers in the background and he makes his approach. His body is completely stiff. Like there's no looseness. It's just stiff. And then he gets off the motorcycle. Also, was it reminiscent of Tron? I know this was Glenn A. Larson and Tron were a thing. But it reminded me of Tron, the auto cycle. No?
No, because that was actually more of a Lang thing. The light cycles. Sorry. I don't know.
Nobody's
seen Tron still.
I don't know. So the bikers are making fun of him. Oh, pretty boy. Which I thought was funny because those guys, I mean, they didn't seem that tough. And they were all really bad actors. Every single one of them, especially the guys in the background with no lines. They were just standing around like, when do I get my $50? Like, I want to hit craft services.
They really should have had a special guest star as one of the bikers. Okay. So Automan's like, I'm going to be your leader because the best biker leads the others, right? And they're like, yeah. And so
did you notice, this is when I noticed the American flag on Otto's lapel.
Yeah.
Did you notice the other guy had a Confederate flag? And he had a Confederate flag on one and a pot leaf on the other.
I saw the pot leaf. I missed the Confederate flag.
This is weird.
Yeah,
whatever.
Well, whatever. He's into crypto now. So they have a dirt bike competition for a while.
Yeah, so they're gonna race, but it also includes like tricks and stuff. Which, oh my God, the tricks. And he can't use the auto bike because it's a racing bike, and that's not fair. They have to So he uses one of their shitty bikes, their dirt bikes, and they race, and then they like jump over cars or something. And there is a very clear, there's 2 or 3 shots that are very clearly shot on a dirt bike track. And then what's the final thing? Oh no, they do the last thing I remember is they like hop up on a railing, like a wooden
They jump over a lake. Yeah.
Oh, right. The last thing I remember is they get on this white railing that it's kind of like on a bridge, and they have to like balance going over this thing, but they're popping a wheelie at the same time. And I was like, the special effects look terrible. Again, nobody's moving. Like nobody on the bike is actually moving. They're perfectly still. But then, they jump over a lake, or Automan jumps over the lake and the other guy can't. So Automan wins. It was such a long, belabored scene of this race. Oh boy, it was too much. He could have done something immediately and been like, I got your balls. I'm the leader. Bye. But he didn't.
It's also unclear why. So some of him being the leader of the biker pack is that he doesn't want the bikers causing a shootout.
Yeah.
Okay. So after he becomes the leader of the renegades, we cut to Jack visiting Carl, the state appropriations guy in the Capitol. Mm-hmm. Jack's like, you've got a berserk sheriff you need to check out. And the guy's like, well, I'm busy. And Jack's like, you need to come with me right now. Then we cut to the lawyer coming out and seeing the sheriff and saying, Jack just went to go get Carl. And now everybody sees the lawyer there, and they realize, everybody meaning Chico, Terry, and Wally see that the lawyer is in it with the sheriff. So now they are in trouble.
And I don't know if they are in a relationship, but the way he like puts his hand on her, around her waist when he's talking to her.
I think that's just how Richard Lynch touches women, I would assume.
Ooh, keep him away. Keep him away from me.
He wanted to be president someday, so he figured he better start early. Boom! Okay, so this is where we talk about, so we cut to Automan and the bikers, mm-hmm. and they're talking about how he doesn't want any weapons there. So there's a lengthy, terrible biker throwing their weapons on the ground montage, and it's really silly. It's not even silly, it's just sad and bad.
And then they tag it again with no, I said everything. And then, I mean, this isn't like that scene in whatever Marx Brothers movie where Harpo's getting his hand shook by the police officer, and silverware and stolen items are falling out of his sleeve. But this is like, it's so long and whatever. And then Automan goes off, leaves them there, says, wait for me here. And he goes off and he hides all the weapons that are hidden away somewhere. I don't know where he goes. I don't know where that's.
He goes to the sheriff's armory.
Yeah.
So the sheriff's got an armory in his house because he's a Republican. And so Automan turns all the shotguns he takes away the existing shotguns and has Cursor create a bunch of fake shotguns.
Yeah.
He's still going to have to deal with the pistols, but he's going to draw their fire.
Yeah.
So it's start your engines, and back at the house, Teresa's finally had enough. And once they hear the renegade, she hits the sheriff in the belly with the 2x4. And he falls down, and she starts running. Now, she's going to run a long, long way in the first minute, and then she's going to slow down a lot.
Yeah.
Because then the sheriff's going to start chasing her in his car. The bikers also take forever to get to the... have we already talked about Automan drawing their fire? Because what Automan does is he goes across the screen, And he spins around and he goes across the street again.
Yeah.
He spins around and he goes across the street, and they're shooting at him, but they can't hit anything because he's a hologram. And they don't know that, the coppers.
Yeah.
So there you go. Once they run out of bullets, that's when Teresa hits him.
I don't know if we missed it in the I'm going to be the leader of this gang thing, but there's also at some point in here, it could also be here, the Born to Be Wild cover, which you noted is a terrible song.
That was during the dirt bike off, and I think I just skipped it because so that was
that's the second cover song. It's really bad.
And I was listening to it, I was like, wait a second.
No,
it's just that the song sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, but it's a biker movie. It's a biker scene, so you got to have it. It's the rules.
Born to be wild on their dirt bikes. Okay, so the sheriff's deputies all run in and grab their guns and come out, and they're going to shoot at the renegades. Only the guns then disappear, and then Automan gets there and frees Wally, but not anybody else who's locked up.
And then they have their great little moment where Wally hops on the back of the bike and they take off into the sunset. Yay.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, it's not over.
No, it's not over. Because Teresa is running down the street running down the road away from the sheriff. My note was sheriff stunt driver versus Teresa stunt girl.
Yeah.
And Wally then jumps in the back of the pickup.
Which was weird. Oh, yeah. Automan is chasing after the sheriff in the pickup truck. That's right. And Wally jumps into the back of the pickup, which I thought, ooh, way to go, Wally. Showing a little...
Yep.
Yeah.
And then he forces the sheriff to pull over and they start fighting.
He doesn't force. This was something I had noted. He grabs onto the back of the sheriff and pulls him out of the back window, which there's no glass or anything apparently.
Okay.
Pulls him out of the back window. The truck keeps going. The truck keeps going and it slams into a tree. That's what stops it.
Okay.
It's very weird. I was like, I mean, I've driven old trucks before, maybe not, from the 80s, but I don't remember it being able to keep up that much momentum to be driving as well as it was. It was very weird. And then it just like the tree stops it.
And then they have a fight where it seems like Wally's going to get his ass kicked, but then he actually beats up the sheriff.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was pretty surprised.
Yeah. And so the bikers have rounded up all the deputies.
Mm-hmm. And Chico goes after Terry.
Yep.
Finds Terry hiding behind another tree. Yep.
And Jack and Carl get there. Now, when they get there, what it looks like is a bunch of bikers have raided a chain gang and...
Like they're freeing their friends or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Carl should be confused. Jack should be confused.
Yeah.
What's going on here? And then they have a little moment and they're like, where's that auto guy? And
he's gone. He's gone.
He's gone.
That's literally the explanation that is given. He's gone.
And so we cut back to LA, where Roxanne brings Wally a box.
Oh, God.
That's for him and Agent Man. And somebody makes an "is it ticking" joke, maybe Boyd. Then it's a jacket from the Renegades and a note saying you can ride with us anytime.
And Wally's crack is, I think I'll walk. Thank you.
And so he puts it on. They talk about the sheriff going to jail. They talk about the green cards.
They talk about the lawyer going to jail.
The lawyer's in trouble too because she was faking green cards, which I don't think is how. I don't think private practice attorneys make green cards for foreign workers. I don't think that's real.
Think that's how it works.
But then we find out that Roxanne thinks Wally looks pretty hot in his leather.
So this is A funny scene to me. It's very funny because Wally's like kind of posing and sort of like, I'm a tough guy, yeah, but in a goofy, like dorky way that he does. Jack and Captain Boyd are sort of like egging it on. So I think it's weird that if Roxanne is actually attracted to Wally, if they actually have a relationship, because we've established in a couple episodes that Wally thinks that Roxanne is his girl. How weird would it be to like flirt in front of your bosses? Yep. I don't know. Yep. I don't know. I don't date coworkers.
There's the implication that her bosses expect her to flirt with Wally for their amusement. It's very weird.
Yeah.
Very weird.
Yeah. And I think and that's it. That's a freeze frame. Everybody's laughing because Jack calls. This is great because Jack is the one who's like, "Oh, I didn't think you were into such a macho type." And I think that's what's making them laugh is that Wally's strutting around like he's some macho god. And
hey, he beat up the sheriff.
That's true. That's true. Again, surprising feat of strength.
Yep. Considering we've only ever seen him get his ass kicked on the show.
Yeah. If it had been Joe Don Baker as the sheriff, there's no way he would have gotten beat up. Because Joe Don Baker is much taller and bigger and drunker than. I mean, I don't know that he's a drunk. I shouldn't say that. He might actually sue me.
Is Joe Don Baker still alive?
He is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think he listens to our podcast.
Not yet.
Don't put it in the notes.
Listener.
Don't put it in the notes. He might be
Please
searching.
Listen to this, Joe Don Baker.
No.
What, do you think he's Fred Decker, director of Monster Squad, who Googles himself every week?
Oh.
Okay.
Well, that was great. That was a great episode. I'm really excited about next week too, because there was a guitar involved.
Ooh.
That's the wrong lady. Next week is about like a pop group, like a female pop group. Yeah. Sid Cole, record producer and manager of his daughter's up-and-coming rock band Sweet Kicks, is blackmailed. An explosion rocks a music video shoot, and it's down to Walter and Automan to find out who's behind it. I don't know who this woman is. I think I'm supposed to. The special guest star, Laura Branigan. I guess she's an actual person in the music business, but I could not tell you where from, and I don't know who any of these other people are. But there's an auto guitar, so if Automan is going to turn into a pop star again,
ooh, awesome. Okay, anything Elvis Presley can do, Chuck Wagner can do.
I'm imagining a silver lame shirt unbuttoned down to his dick, and
we can only hope. All right. On that note, do we have anything else for this episode? Terry Kaiser disappears.
Yeah.
Pretty early.
He was my favorite guest star, I think. The guy who's not the sheriff, but the other guy.
Shitty.
He was my favorite guest star in this. I thought he was really good. He's got a good face. He's got a good face for being a bad guy. I don't know if he made a career out of that. He got the meatiest part besides the sheriff, and I thought he was pretty good. Chico was awful. I'm so sorry. He looked cool though. Like he had a bad guy look. He should have been a bad guy.
You've never seen The Untouchables?
No.
He's the bad guy. He's the chief bad guy enforcer in The Untouchables.
Gotcha.
So, yep.
He was really bad, but he had a good look about him.
Terry, the sister, was barely had anything to do.
I think she would have been fine, but you can't give women any good roles.
If she's not going to be romanced by Automan, then that would only leave Wally, and
he's got a girl. He's got a girl.
He's got a girl.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about next week.
He doesn't need a girl. He's got his mom. Okay.
His mom doesn't approve. She's got to approve everything.
Gross. Okay.
Oh my God. So he's not, I see a picture from the episode. He's not in silver lame, but he's in a suit and a red skinny tie, and he's got an auto guitar. I'm excited. Okay, sorry, got distracted.
It's going to be Automan Honky Tonk. Excellent. All right.
Well,
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Have a good one. Bye.